Hola amigos, my name is Kered and I live in Argentina. We've got a bit of competition today because the birds are really having a good old chirrup, but I think you will probably quite like that sound. So I'm just going to talk nice and clearly, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me over the background noise. I've also got random dogs around me, but they're just protecting. I know you haven't heard from me for a while, but things have been really busy at home with lots of renovations in the house, but it's all been, and it always takes longer than you think, doesn't it? But it's all been completed satisfactorily, so now I can take a breath and have a little chat with all you friends. A few people have been talking to me recently about language learning, because I know that can be a big thing when you move to another country, particularly if it's a country that doesn't speak your native language. I think there are a few things about this, and I'm going to be a bit later on in next year. My plan is to interview a few people, a native Argentine, a Brit who's lived here for a long time, and a more recent expat, and then a very recent expat, a very recent immigrant, I should say, just so that I can show you different approaches, different problems, not just about language learning, but about anything. But first of all, you're going to get my opinion. You don't need to take it. This is 100% just my opinion. I know there will be people out there who say she knows nothing. Well, actually, I'm learning 3 languages, so I do know a little bit. But what I'm telling you is from my experience. It's not scientific. It's just what works for me. And that's the essence of it. If you're going to learn a language, say Spanish, because that was the first the first foreign language I learned. Let's talk about Spanish, because that was the first foreign language I learned. If you look on the internet, there are a ton of resources on YouTube, apps, free, paid, courses, whatever you like. The important thing, again, this is my opinion, is to find something that you enjoy, that works for you. There is no point having a shelf full of books and a phone full of apps if you don't use them. And if you enjoy something, you're much more likely to use it. So that's the first thing. Then I think you need to try and keep the range of resources that you use actually quite limited. Particularly with Spanish, it's very easy to do that, ooh, new bright shiny object kind of thing. And you're starting lots of things, and it's much harder to complete them. Another thing I would say is that it's really important to speak your language, your target language. So, probably 4 years ago, my daughter looked over my shoulder at something I was studying, and she said to me, "Mama, why are you doing that? You already know that." I mean, she speaks fluent Spanish, but in some ways I know a bit more grammar than she does. But my problem back then was I couldn't speak. And you've maybe heard me mention Charlemos before, and this won't be the last time. And I found this group called Charlemos, and I will put a link in the description box below, where groups of language learners get together and speak, in this case, Spanish. And when we're speaking Spanish, it's only two of us, sometimes three if there's an odd number in the group. And we are speaking to another learner. And we have some really good ground rules about being kind and not teaching and not correcting. And it's a safe space to practice what you've learned in whatever method you like to use. And that has given me so much confidence. I speak Spanish most days, not all day, obviously. My husband and I speak English to one another. But I can switch into Spanish without panicking, without concern. It's not always correct. Maybe it isn't even sometimes correct. But that's okay, because people understand me, I understand them, and it gets the job done. And that's the other thing. Don't stress about perfection or fluency, whatever that is. But if you can achieve what you want to achieve in your target language, surely that's the important bit. So if you can have a conversation with somebody when you're queuing up to pay in the supermarket, just, you know, wow, this is a long queue, you know, lovely weather type of conversation. If that's what you want to do and you can do it, kudos to you. That's brilliant. I have to say, I discovered that I've got a bit of a passion, an obsession, shall we say, for learning languages. So after a couple of years of Charlemos Spanish, I actually started 2 years ago, I started Charlemos French because I went back to learning French. And I'm now learning Arabic, which is because my husband is Palestinian, and as a mark of respect to him, I've tried to learn the language before, but I was working, lots of excuses. This time, I think I'm actually going to get that. I'm going to be able to hold a conversation in Arabic, which is really all I'm hoping for. I can read and write a bit, but, you know, holding a conversation would be great. So, language learning, I would say, if you want to move to a country that doesn't have your mother tongue as its main language, don't worry about it. It's going to take some work. I know some friends of mine moved to Bulgaria, and learning Bulgarian is a challenge. But they're learning enough Bulgarian to do what they need to do. And then they'll expand it. And that's fine. If you just need to go and do your shopping, you'll learn what you need in order to do that. Then when you want to do something else, you'll learn what you need to do that. So I would say don't let that put you off. Don't dismiss it as a challenge. But it's not insurmountable. It really isn't. And yes, of course, some people will find it more difficult than others. And that's completely understandable. But we will definitely be talking more about language learning. There are questions about, you know, exposing young children to different languages, you know, what's the best way? And I don't know the answers to these questions. These are things I'm going to put to maybe some of my interviewees next year when I get round to doing those interviews. So I think that's as much as I have to say about learning languages. And I'm going to stop talking now and drink my coffee. And I hope that you all have a smashing day, not literally, metaphorically, that you enjoy every moment of it. And I'm making this recording kind of just over a week before Christmas. And whether you celebrate Christmas or something else, or don't celebrate, or just enjoy being with family, whatever you do, I hope that you enjoy it, because honestly, isn't that the point of all of this, is to enjoy? Whether it's a cup of coffee or a world cruise, not that I fancy a world cruise, whatever it is you're doing, enjoy it. Enjoy the birds. I'm going to let the video run for a couple of more minutes so you can enjoy the bird song. Salut.